What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
How's it going?
And Zach's not here. Zach's not here today. He had to go on a work vacation and couldn't make it work to Skype in or be with us, so he will be back for the next episode, I believe.
What we really need to do is go get one of those test dummies for car crashes and dress it up like Zach. And anytime he's gone, we can just get out Crash Dummy Zach.
Man, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
We should do that.
We
Let's
could
figure out how to make that happen.
find one in like a recycle landfill.
Surely there's one out there. We just got to find
Toyota an
it.
email. Excuse us. We need a used test Crash Dummy.
Preferably one that's beat up.
The jankiest one you have.
Duct tape together.
We're going to make it look like a friend. He can only wear gray and navy.
Yes.
And he has to...
Beanie sometimes.
Yeah, he needs his bracelet.
Yes.
Sometimes a hat.
Fun little
and
iPhone
hair.
holder with like the
fun
little flip
iPhone
thing that's
that
doubles as a wallet.
We can do this.
We can do this. We know Zach down to a T. We can do this for sure. But in case you didn't know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, not just Zach's clothing. The ones we like, the ones we hate, and everything in between. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube and iTunes channels. You can also support the show by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we'll give you a cool perk like getting the episode early before its general Tuesday release. So I have to apologize, dear listeners.
Oh my gosh.
Because I realized, I didn't as much realize it as Mogan brought it to my attention, that the song contest last week was a repeat.
Oh, right.
I had used that hint before. So the game was Call of Duty 2 Modern Warfare.
The shame.
I apologize profusely. Okay, so here's my excuse for this. Here's Here's why I repeated. Last Friday night, I went to go see Hans Zimmer in concert.
Oh, that's right.
Had my
I
mind
saw your snaps and
absolutely
I was like, oh
blown.
my gosh. I'm very jealous.
It was the best concert experience I've ever been to in my whole life.
Oh, man. What all did they play from his... Because he's done everything.
He's done everything. And so that's why... So before I get into that, that's why I chose Modern Warfare 2, because he did the soundtrack for that one. I was like, I've got to do something Hans Zimmer. I can't use a movie. So, this one's perfect. And wound up repeating it. So,
awesome.
But Mogan, though, does have a hint for us at the end of this episode.
That's right.
But as far as Hans Zimmer, quick recap, because this means a lot to me, dear listeners, because I've listened to Hans Zimmer since I was 13 years old when The Last Samurai came out, and I listened. That was the first. I think that's actually the first CD I bought in iTunes was The Last Samurai soundtrack.
Oh, that's the lamest thing you've ever said to me.
The soundtrack is good. Hold whatever reservations you have about the movie, but the soundtrack itself is good.
You should get a T-shirt that says that on it. I purchased The Last Samurai soundtrack.
We make T-shirts, damn it. We're 78 episodes in. We need T-shirts.
That's
by this
exactly
point.
what we need.
But anyway, so he started off with like a quick medley that was stuff from Driving Miss Daisy, Sherlock Holmes, which was real good, and I can't remember the other one. But then the big highlights for me were he did Gladiator. He did Gladiator really early,
nice.
And that one was so good. And then Pirates of the Caribbean was probably the most energetic and fast-paced, but it was great because it started off with a whole bunch of this really slower stuff, and then it built up into the main theme.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it ended with that. It was so good.
Oh, is that what they ended on?
No,
or just that part?
That's what they ended the first half of the show. It had an intermission.
Gotcha,
It was like 3 hours long.
Wow, any
great.
show that has an intermission is A+.
The most surprising thing is he did a medley of The Lion King, which I knew he did that. I just completely forgot that he did.
I thought Elton John did the
Elton John did the ones with the lyrics and everything, but Hans Zimmer did the actual score for it.
I forget that all the time.
But what was badass about it, which, I mean, it was a badass suite of music anyway, but what was really cool about it is he had the original vocalist who recorded the opening track there to sing the opening track when it started.
That's
so
amazing.
the previous suite of music had ended. It was all black, and then it just started off with the sun rising behind him and the vocalist. Oh, it was great. It was so good.
I can't believe they got the original vocalist. I mean, I can believe it.
And it was really cool because Hans told this really cool story after the song's over that this guy, he met him when this guy was working at, his name is Lebo M. He was working at a car wash in Los Angeles when Hans Zimmer met him. 2 weeks ago, prior to that, to their meeting, he had just escaped South Africa during apartheid.
Oh my God.
And so,
what a life story.
I know, it was crazy. And that guy's daughter was there also singing. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Holy crap.
Then he did the Wonder Woman theme.
Oh, right.
Batman, Superman, Interstellar. And then he ended the show after coming back for an encore. He ended the show with Inception.
You ready for another fun little connection there?
Sure.
So he did the music for Wonder Woman.
Yes.
The cellist who
he did the Wonder Woman theme in Batman v Superman. He didn't do the music for the actual Wonder Woman
Never
movie.
mind. Because the cellist that played the Wonder Woman theme from the Wonder Woman movie, she is very good friends with, what's his name, that did Journey?
Austin Wintory.
Oh,
holy shit.
She actually did a lot of the cello parts for the Journey soundtrack.
Oh, really?
There's your connection, buddy.
Boom. There you go.
What is her name? Tina
Guo. She was there. She was playing cello for Hans Zimmer at the concert.
Dude, that's awesome. Tina Guo is amazing.
Oh, she was so good.
So good.
But yeah, so sorry to get way off track. Well, not totally off track of video
Tina
games.
Guo
but
did
I mean,
video game music technically.
There we go. And Hans Zimmer has too. So that's what we're keeping it with that. We're saying it's allowed.
That's amazing.
It's permitted. It is permitted.
It is permitted. We are the masters of this podcast.
We can do whatever we want.
We can do whatever we want.
That's true.
That's right.
All right. Well, so we have a couple different random things we're going to talk about today. We have a couple different game outlooks or reviews I would say we're going to do, and
like
also
updates
I would say. But then we're also going to do, because I know it's a couple weeks past now at this point, but since we had to pre-record some older episodes, we're now I went to RTX, so I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. And then Mogan's going to talk a little bit about the Splatoon 2.
Splat 2.
And then I'm going to be doing a review of it's an Xbox One launch title, but Ryse, Son of Rome. So stick around. That was basically the full summary of what we're going to be talking about today. But so RTX.
Yeah, tell us about this, because you've gone how many years in a row now?
3.
3 years in a row.
3 years in a row.
And have you seen your would-be husband every single time?
Yes, actually, Greg Miller. Yes,
Miller.
I have seen him there. So this one was actually really cool. I didn't want to go all 3 days, and I wanted to go on Saturday, but apparently RTX can sell out of general day passes.
Wow,
had no idea that was a possibility.
Just try
but
to
it did.
Go.
But I should have.
Know somebody didn't
Somebody
show up.
would have been like, "Hey,
somebody was hungover. Come on."
But yeah, so I just went on Sunday, and my wife Sam actually wound up going with me, and it wasn't as impressive as past times have been, and maybe it's because I did go on the last day, so maybe some of the other exhibitors had left already. I feel like there's normally a bigger presence of bigger games. Like last year, Twitch had a big setup, and they were playing Cliff Bleszinski's latest game, Lawbreakers. I played that there last year. Supergiant Games was there last year when they were there again this year too. 343 normally has a presence. They have a Halo thing set up, which that was there too, but I didn't feel the need necessarily to go play that. But it was still really cool. And then I wound up going to a panel that Greg Miller hosted that was not about games, but it was on comic book movies and stuff like that.
Cool.
But so it was still really cool. Biggest thing about RTX though, the one thing that I played it last year and was still really excited about it, played it again this year, and I'm still just as excited about it, is Pyre. By Supergiant.
Yes, we're going to talk about that because it's coming out pretty soon now.
The 27th. So I think today, while you're listening to this.
No, because next Tuesday,
I believe it's the
25th.
Oh, then that's what it is.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the 25th.
Is when Pyre is coming out. Yeah.
It is the 25th.
So I played it again. Still, it's a really fun game. It's got not necessarily choose your adventure RPG, but it has like dialogue options that, depending on how you progress through them, will unlock different conversations. But the main gameplay is almost like a sport, and it's all about it's like you're accomplishing these rites is what you're trying to do, these rites to escape this realm that you're trapped in, and you lead your 3 traveling companions in these rites, and you have like a bigger character, Jadariel, who is like the tank.
That's
I guess
right. I remember when we talked about this because the art is beautiful.
Oh, I mean, as other Supergiant games are.
Oh, it's so good looking. This is from the same people who did Bastion, and did they not do Fury?
They did not do Fury, but they did Transistor.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
That's the one in between.
I think I get it confused because some of their art, at least
it looks very similar.
The color palette in particular tends to really match Fury. But yes, go on.
But anyway, so that game is really fun because the main element of the gameplay is that and as far as what the demo has showed, is that in these rites, you're competing against another team, and basically you're trying to extinguish their flame of their pyre by delivering this ball to it. But it's more like not an aura isn't the right phrase, the right term for it, but it's just a ball of energy basically, and you try to get it into their pyre, and you score. And depending on which hero you use to score the ball, determines how many points you take off of their pyre.
Okay.
But you have this when you are holding the ball. I'm going to call it the energy. Just because ball makes it sound like I'm playing basketball or football, whatever. But the energy, when you're holding it, you usually have this aura that surrounds you, this ring around you. And if you run into another player with it, it vaporizes them, and they have to they're knocked out for a little while, and then they come back and can re-enter play. So it's a strategic thing of trying to wipe out the other players, because that obviously makes it easier. But when you score, you also can't use that character for a few seconds either.
Now, if you're holding the energy and you have the aura around you, that protects you?
You don't have the aura around you when you hold the energy. But you can pass it to your other teammates.
Gotcha.
And your other teammates, like if the enemy has the energy, you can use your aura and shoot it at them in like a shockwave, which will then eliminate them too. So there's a lot of different ways about it. You can even like throw the aura into the energy into the fire, into the enemy pyre to score. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about completing the goal. And I'm sure as the game progresses, there will be harder opponents or more opponents. There's usually just 3 and the ones that they have there for you to play. But still, the gameplay is all there. It's something that could be a very, very fun
And the other teams
experience.
are mostly made up of AI. Is that right? Or are they online?
They're AI.
Gotcha. Cool.
There might be a multiplayer.
It does look like a very fascinating game.
Oh yeah,
I would be interested to play it.
And I'm super into Supergiant games just because of Bastion. I have Transistor also, just haven't got around to playing it. But because of Bastion in and of itself and how great of a game that is, I'm all over whatever Supergiant sells.
What's the soundtrack for Pyre like?
Good of what I've heard. I would imagine it's the same guy who's done the one for Bastion and Transistor, Darren Korb.
Oh, okay.
So I would imagine it's going to be great, because so far their soundtracks have been really good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely interested to play it, and I'm hopeful that maybe someday it will come out for that sweet PlayStation Plus Game of the Month.
I'm sure it will.
That
Transistor
I finally have to pay for.
That's how I got Transistor, so I'm sure it will at some point. It might just be a year or so down the road, but it's fun. But you can get it for Steam or PS4.
Good.
So, yeah.
I need to make more use of my Steam account.
I do too.
Yeah, I'm really not using it to its fullest potential.
They had their big summer sale, so I bought Civilization 6, which I've been playing a little bit of, and it's great.
My problem is that my primary computer is my laptop, and it just cannot handle big games.
No.
It can't do it.
I have to use it on my big computer, and then I'm just locked away in here.
It's like crazy. When Overwatch had the Diva skin for the police officer Diva,
and you were trying to do that
Heroes of the Storm, only
could
could get through Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
I was trying to play that on my laptop, and it technically worked, but like when I took my headphones off, my laptop was basically screaming. It was like, no!
Yeah, I know. That's how my laptop is. Even though I have a fairly decent powered laptop for editing and stuff like that, they just
can't do it.
Still just can't do it. I'm afraid it's going to blow up on my lap or something. So that's why I'm always like, I'll just use my iMac. Yeah,
exactly.
But so that was the big highlight of RTX for this year. Other than the fact that there was also a booth for Maltesers, the candy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right, Sam.
And Sam got this big tub of Maltesers that they were giving away, but they were all like melty in there already for some reason,
gross.
even though it was a semi-cool environment.
I guess maybe from the truck.
I guess, but then when driving them home, they just became a bigger melted mess together. So we just were digging them out with a spoon.
Sick.
But they're so good.
Gross. I do love malted milk balls, though. They're super tasty.
So good. It's something I don't necessarily crave, but then whenever I have one,
whenever somebody's like,
good.
do you want one? You're like, oh yeah, they're amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, but Maltesers better than Whopper.
Are they?
Yeah.
Whoa, those
it's the chocolate.
sound like fighting words.
It's the chocolate. That's what does it.
Is there some discourse happening in the malted milk ball community?
I don't know.
About which one is actually better?
I don't know. Haven't checked in on it lately.
I bet there is.
I bet there is.
So
didn't have a whole lot to say on RTX.
That's all right.
But so we can go ahead and jump into the bigger
the real
gaming things.
Real news.
Yeah, it felt like it needed to be said. Some things need to be said about it.
So this is probably the first time that all three of us, me, you, and Zach, are all going to have a console in common.
Yes.
When the best game of the year, except for Breath of the Wild, officially comes out.
I was about to say those are big words.
Comes out in mere days of this recording. So it will already be out when this episode launches, Splatoon 2.
Oh, yeah. So this is a Wednesday, so it'll be on 2 days.
We're recording on a Wednesday. I have my pre-order on reserve. I'm going to do midnight pickup Thursday night at exactly midnight.
Hell yeah.
And I'm going to go home and play as long as I can. And then I have to go to work.
Which will suck.
Yeah, it'll suck. But
I'll get so good while you're at work.
The plus side is that I took a working from home day on Monday.
Nice.
I'm not going to work. I'm going to play Splatoon all day.
After having played it all weekend, too.
After having played it all weekend. Because I have learned from the event that just happened. So we're basically doing a recap right now of the SplatFest.
Yeah.
So Nintendo announced probably a couple of weeks, maybe even a month ago, I'm bad at measuring time, that they were going to be doing what is essentially a demo Splatfest. So for those of you that played the old game, Splatfest is a worldwide free-for-all, where it is turf mode only, where you're just basically competing for who can ink the most of the map. So there's no incentive to play ultra competitively per se, unless you just really, really want to win. So it was turf war only, and it was cake versus ice cream this time, the theme. And
because they always have themes.
They always have a theme.
Okay.
There's always something versus something else, and each of the themes is always attached to one of the hosts. So we learned a lot from the Splatfest in terms of what the new game is going to look like, from the plaza where all of your shops and other players in the Miiverse posts are, and of course the hosts of Splatoon. So from the last game, we had Callie and Marie, the Squid Sisters. So iconic. This time we have Marina and Pearl, and they're both amazing. Marina was attached to Team Ice Cream, which was my team, and Pearl was attached to Team Cake. And just like with every other Splatfest probably ever, somehow the teams wound up vastly skewed, which is, it's kind of funny in a way, but it's also unfortunate for the actual gameplay, because when you're in a Splatfest, it's always 4v4.
Okay.
And it's always random unless you're in a group. So if you're in a group of 4 Team Ice Creams, and of Team Ice Cream there's 80 million, and then there's 4 million of Team Cake.
Oh, no.
Those 4 million people are really hard to find. So what you often come up with is you'll be fighting your own team. So it'll be Team Ice Cream versus Team Ice Cream.
So that's good, at least that there's still a way to play.
So it's not that it doesn't find you a group, it's that it'll try really hard to find you one of the opposing groups, but if it can't, it just has to sub in your own team.
Okay.
Which does kind of suck, because the overall goal of Splatfest is to rack up the most win points for your team, because that's how they decide who's won.
Oh, so it could very easily bias it to Team Ice Cream.
Yeah, so you're kind of like beating your own self at your own game, and it's like, oh man. So like it was a given that Team Ice Cream was going to win in terms of sheer numbers, but everybody did good.
Because apparently more people like ice cream than
everybody
cake.
Played. Also, I think it might be that in the fan base of Splatoon 2 so far, a lot of people are in love with Marina. She's actually an octoling. Okay. I don't know if you remember that from the first game.
There's the squidlings, which are
there's the
squid.
The inklings.
So
they're actually, no, that's okay. So the inklings are like the squid kids.
Okay.
And the octolings from the first game were exclusively bad guys. Oh. So like you would only encounter octolings in really just story mode, because the single player campaign, if you want to call it, was, I kind of viewed it as an extended tutorial of like how to get good at different weapons and stuff like that. That's not really what its purpose was, but that's how I mostly played it. But where was I going with this? Oh yes, so the octolings were like your primary antagonist from the first game. So it's actually kind of a surprise to see that one of the primary hosts of Splatoon 2 is an octoling.
Yeah.
And that they're not addressing it at all. They're like,
so I wonder if that'll be explained then when the game's released.
Now, what we don't have a lot of information on quite yet is the story mode for Splatoon 2 does appear to be about the previous hosts from Splatoon, Callie and Marie.
Okay.
Because the big thing is Callie has gone missing. Where is she? You can see that Marie is still in the plaza, and she's kind of your story mode person now, where last time you had Gramps, their grandpa, an old withered sea captain who no one believed about the octoling scourge. And he was right all along. But so you have your new hosts, you have your new plaza, and that comes, of course, with a lot of new gear and a lot of new weapons.
Nice.
And the Splatfest only started you with 4 weapons.
Okay.
So you did get 4 starters. You got the dualies, which are the new type that enables you to use a 2-handed weapon, which you never had in the last game. The classic roller, of course, which is from the first game. The charger, also from the first game. And the splatter shot.
Okay.
Just your basic, shooter as straight as you can get. So of those 4, only the dualies are new. So I did find that the way that I chose to play the game was with each of the Joy-Cons in separate hands. You could, in theory, put them in your Joy-Con dock and play it with the controller in your hand, and many people choose to play it with the Joy-Cons on the Switch itself to still use its gyroscopic compatibility.
Right.
Or a lot of people choose to use the Pro Controller. I still don't own a Pro Controller, so I have no idea how that would feel to play the game. I do know that if you're using sticks only to control your motion and movement, it's a nightmare.
Is it? Why?
Because it's really hard.
Because that for me, because I've played the only bit of Splatoon that I've played is it was on display once at a Target, I think, on the Wii U, and I remember picking it up trying to play it and be like, what in tarnation?
I guess it's just because I'm so used to it from the first game. I'm like, wee,
yeah,
and
you're into it. So I'm wondering if then for me then picking it up, if I'll prefer the Pro Controller.
So the funny thing is that you can still use the gyroscopic capabilities if you have the Joy-Con docked in the Switch itself, or as separate in your hands. Because if you, or actually, I suppose even the docked version of the Joy-Cons,
because it would still
work because it's, or at least for my settings, the primary gyroscopic one is your right hand.
Okay.
So I was basically able to keep my left hand mostly still and move my right hand around free willy-nilly to use my aim, and that worked out very well for me. I'm still not good because I need a lot of practice.
Yeah.
But I wasn't holding my team back, I'll say that much.
See, that's what I'm going to have to do because I have it on pre-order too.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Did you really? You pre-ordered it?
Well,
Splatoon 2? Oh, yes. No, we talked about this.
Yeah, birthday present. So I didn't personally... I didn't personally pre-order it, but it's pre-ordered for me. So now all I just have to hope is, did it get same-day delivery, or is it going to have to wait a couple days?
Question.
But so as soon as I get it, though, I'm going to have to just play it for a few days before I even be like, okay, Mogan, I'm ready to play.
Yeah. So one of the really great things that they did for the Splatfest that I never really utilized in the last game is that you can set it up to where you're actually playing with your chosen teammates. So, for example, if you have other friends that are online at the time, you can actually group up with them, and then you can maintain your team of 4 instead of having it be random every time.
Oh, okay, cool.
So if you create a room, basically, other people join you, and then you all play together, which is really nice. It's basically just kind of like a squad battle almost.
Yeah. That'd be nice too, especially if there is a bigger, on the full launch, if there is as big of an issue with Splatfest, especially with the unbalanced of teams. If you can at least have your own party that you can play with and things like that, so you're not having to spend a whole lot of your time waiting through lobbies.
Exactly. And it's not often that I feel like most of the Splatfests were that skewed.
Yeah.
This time it did seem especially bad.
And that's probably just because it was the demo.
I think it's just because it was the demo, and so many people are so jazzed for Marina. Have you seen Marina and Pearl? They are so cute and pretty.
I'm sure I've seen pictures of them, but just not put 2 and 2 together that it's who they are.
Marina and Pearl. They are not on the cover art.
Okay.
So if you were, or at least not to the ones that I have seen. So Marina and Pearl, they are the best. They are so cute. I don't want fan art. I want real art.
I know. Isn't that so annoying?
Not helpful.
You want a real picture?
Yeah, that's what they look like in the official game art. So Marina is the Octoling.
Okay.
And Pearl is the little Inkling.
Okay, so Octoling, because her hair looks like tentacles.
Yeah, because she's got, that's right, exactly. And I think she's maybe got turntables or something. She does.
So she's a DJ.
Yeah, she's got turntables, so she's a DJ. And then Pearl is the classic singer or whatever, but she's got a lot of rap lyrics in the new game.
Ooh.
But they're not obviously words. They have their little Inkling language, which is just a bunch of interesting noises.
Right.
And another really fun thing that is probably the best update of all. Okay, so in your Joy-Con, you've got your D-pad.
Yes.
in the first game, if you pushed either up or down on D-pad, the only things that those buttons did were up was come on, which was like how you could ping your team to go where you were going.
Okay.
It was just like a way to signal what you were going to do. And booyah, the most important button in the game, because even after you've been splatted, even after you're dead, kind of on your kill screen, you can still booyah.
Nice.
So, or of course you can do it to other people. It's just like a fun way to kind of spam around. It's like hello in Overwatch. You just spam hello all the time. So they've only ever had come on and booyah. And in the new game, it's this way for up and still booyah for the down button. But best feature of all, when you immediately after you die on the kill screen, this way turns to ouch. It's the best.
Like,
so it's only right after you've been splatted, and I was like, this is great.
So you're just over there, ow, ow,
just
ow,
spamming it.
ow,
And
ow.
I love that one in particular because the other team can also see your ouches, so it's just like, you son of a bitch. It was a lot of fun. Some
awesome.
of the other really interesting things, at least regarding the gameplay itself, are the dualies. They're an interesting kind of weapon.
The two-handed weapons?
So that's the two-handed weapon.
Okay.
Now, as far as their actual control goes,
like
it's
one
not
in each hand?
Exactly.
Okay.
So when you're actually controlling them, you're not moving each hand independently of each other. You're obviously still
Dude, like
that
Matrix
would be so
stuff.
fun.
That'd be so cool if you could like walk in and be like,
that would be
just like
amazing.
An arc of paint.
What the real interesting feature is they do have a lot of spread, so they're definitely not a super straightforward weapon, so they would actually be really good for turf war, for example. But when you're actively shooting, if you hit, I believe it's the jump button, instead of jumping like you normally would with another weapon in your hand, you actually do this really fast roll to either side. So you can roll forward, back, left, or right, depending on which way you have, I think, done on your directional stick.
Okay.
So, and that's a really hard thing. At least for me, I was like, I don't think I'm getting it.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll take a lot of people.
So it's going to take a lot of time, but I had already encountered plenty of other people that mastered it within 5 minutes that were just slaughtering
Isn't that how it always is, though?
Yeah, it's always like the Japanese. It's always the Japanese.
The Koreans, they're always just so much better.
They're just always so much better. So I feel like it's going to be almost potentially overpowered. It seemed like a really good move. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of ways to counter it when they do have the rest of the weapons come online, like the blasters and all the others, the brushes, for example, the sloshers.
Do they normally with the first Splatoon, although it could have been different due to the Wii, due to how the Wii U is, but did they ever like nerf or buff certain weapons?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did?
So
okay.
actually Nintendo was pretty good about doing updates, much like Overwatch does, where they like slightly tweak gameplay, and every time they do that, you know how Overwatch has their online forum,
right.
Nintendo just does little Nintendo Directs. So something that you may have noticed in your Switch is like the little news icon.
Yeah.
That's where those are going to go.
Oh, okay, cool.
So for future reference, that's where you'll be able to find them. So they do definitely look at the gameplay, and they do make tweaks as needed.
Good.
They're not super common. I remember that every time there was an update about the actual gameplay, it always felt really rare to me. Maybe it was happening way more than I paid attention to.
Right. But
I was a pretty early adopter of Splatoon. So I would be surprised if there was a lot that I missed. But maybe, you know, that first month of play that I didn't have it, maybe they changed a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, true.
So they do also have a really interesting new feature for the roller. So you may or may not, you don't know. So the roller is kind of like
I've seen the roller.
Yeah, it's just a paint roller.
I actually saw some video of it today, probably from somebody. This is some recording of that. But yeah, it's legitimately just a big paint roller that rolls around all over
so
the place.
So the roller, you know, your main way of kind of getting around is just to roll along the ground. And in the first game, you could like pop it up and flick it to like splash paint at other people.
Okay.
Which if you were really good at aiming and you had a really fast roller, you could just slaughter right and left. It was actually a really good weapon if you got good at it.
Yeah.
In this game, if you're swimming in your ink, so let's say you're swimming in ink, and then you get up and jump and then do the flick, instead of going horizontally, it'll switch to a vertical splash. And it goes way farther than the horizontal splash.
But it doesn't have as much coverage.
It doesn't have as much coverage, but it's a much more directed approach. So again, if you like pop up and blam and get somebody with the vertical, you're almost certainly going to kill them, like with a one hit. And I was just like, wow, other people are using this to such great effect to kill me. And here I am just dying left and right, not being able to do anything. anything. So I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer.
Yeah.
Really from any jumping position, not just from swim to jump, but from any jump. That's how you enable yourself to use the vertical. So if you jump and use your actual splash, no matter what happens, you're going to do a vertical one.
Nice.
So standing, horizontal, jumping, vertical. And so far, those are the only huge differences I noticed, aside from the specials. So do you remember specials? At least in passing.
Maybe.
From
But
Splatoon.
I'm going to need a refresher.
So, like, for example, the ink strike, which is where a giant ink missile comes up on your back, and on your gamepad, you would pick an area of the map to launch it at, and it would go over and like basically just bombard them with ink like a torpedo or whatever. There was the bubbler, which would encase you in kind of a translucent bubble that you could then tap your teammates and give them the bubble too. That made you pretty much invulnerable.
So big shield.
For a big shield for a given amount of time. Everybody hated the bubbler because it was so OP. There was the killer whale, which was just like a big sound wave. And it was really hard to use because it had a very small range. But it was so satisfying. When you got people with the killer whale, you're just like, you're us. And there was the ink Zuka, which was just devastating for other people, useless for me because I'm terrible with it. Which is exactly what it sounds like. It's like a bazooka that you just use to slaughter people right and left.
Right.
Almost none of those, actually none of them, I don't think, made it to Splatoon 2. So all of the specials are new.
Oh, that's cool.
And some of the sub-weapons are new too. You know that ice sport of curling?
Yes.
You know the little ball thing with a little handle that they use? That's one of your specials now. Not your special, your sub-weapon. So it's like a curler bomb. That's what they call it.
So it just like slides across the ink?
Kind of. So you like send out a curler bomb and it kind of goes pa-choo, 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 like it bounces around. And then eventually when it gets to a certain distance, it'll explode. And it's just like the first time they came at me, I was like, what the damn hell are these?
And then
it exploded and I was like, oh, this is not
So that
good.
could be really cool then for either like clearing out or making it, not necessarily clearing out a whole lot of people, but confusing them as to where it was going to go.
Yes, correct.
Especially if it's ricocheting all over the place.
Especially if you're in like tight quarters and there are a lot of corners for them to go up against.
Does it hurt you if it hits you before it explodes?
So there's no such thing as if it's an enemy one or if it's your
if it's an enemy one.
Yeah, if it's an enemy one, and I think if it touches
if it runs into you as it's bouncing off something before it explodes.
I'm actually not sure. I'm not
sure.
sure. I'm not sure that happened to me, so I would have to test it again. But anyway, so all of these sub weapons are looking pretty cool. Some of them stayed the same. The traditional splat bomb made a comeback. The burst bombs made comebacks.
Yeah.
I don't recall if they're doing splash wall again, which was basically just you'd throw up a literal wall that would spray ink down that you could shoot through, but that the other people couldn't get to use through. Cool. It was awesome. I'm not sure if Splash Wall is coming back, but the point is, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about all the new levels that they've done. Everything except for Moray Towers from the SplatFest was amazing, and they did some improvements to Moray Towers. It was hilarious. I don't know if you remember this. Nintendo was like, an old fan favorite is coming back in Splatoon 2, and then they announced it was Moray Towers, and everyone was like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck?
So what would have been the actual fan favorite?
Moray Towers was not anybody's favorite. My personal favorite was probably... I really enjoyed Black Belly Skate Park, and I loved the museum, the Museum d'Alfonso or something. Those were two of my favorites. I think at least a couple of the levels are coming back, but of all of the new ones that they introduced, they were pretty much all pretty awesome. So I think it's going to be, once they have all of the levels released, it's going to be excellent.
Nice.
So excited.
I'm excited too. Like the first one, obviously, I had no interest in because I didn't have a Wii U. But this one, now that I have a Switch, like I said, told you that one time, I'm so much more excited about all things Nintendo now.
So when you do eventually get it for yourself, only play story mode at first,
just so I can get good.
So that you can. But if you want to get the best gear, you do need to be leveling up.
Okay.
And you can only level up, I believe, in real terms, if you are only doing turf or ranked battles.
Okay. So that's usually what I would play.
So you have to be playing online, and you need to be playing as much as you can now while it's free. Before
that's right.
Eventually,
but when is that? That's not until
it's like
next
holiday.
Year.
Is it next year?
when the Nintendo service,
when they start making it like a PlayStation Plus kind of thing.
Well, it's only like $20 though.
Yeah, so. It's not going to be much. No. It's not going to be bad.
I did see that and I was like, damn it, another service. But then I was like, it's $20 a year.
Yeah, and really all they're doing is keeping tabs with everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's like they already do it for Xbox, they do it for PlayStation. It blows, but I see why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So they got to make money somehow,
they do.
Jerrett.
They do.
Breath of the Wild only made $8 trillion.
Okay, so remind me when we're doing Moment with Mogan, I have something about making money that I heard about this week. That was ridiculous, but we'll get
I can't wait for it.
But so just remind me when we're doing that. But no, so I'm real excited for Splatoon 2.
You should be. It's going to be awesome. I think you're really going to like it.
Plus, it gives us another game that we can play other than Overwatch.
So if you're good enough,
which we haven't played in a while.
I've actually been on a lot. I don't know if you have.
I've sporadically been on. Obviously, like I'm waiting for Doomfist.
Yeah. Oh,
but when Doomfist comes on, I'll be playing a bunch.
I'm really excited for Doomfist to come out. So we're just casually transitioning into the Moment with Mogan now.
Moment with Mogan.
Yeah, Moment with Mogan. So when Doomfist does come out, which should be by about this time when this episode airs, I'm super jazzed because I have heard that Pharah is going to be a fantastic counter to Doomfist.
Oh, and I am getting good at Pharah.
Exactly.
I've been playing Pharah more often. Well, I'm still trying to, even though I've given up my hopes and dreams of platining that game, I'm still trying to get the trophies for at least some of the here. Like I've given up on being able to get Zenyatta's and probably Lucio's too.
I think everybody gave up.
But I'm still trying to get Pharah's where you kill 4 people without touching the ground.
Really?
I haven't got it yet.
You need a Zarya ult.
Yeah, I do. That's why I need to play with you so we can like team up on it.
And I'm a great Zarya.
And I'm trying. Okay, good, because then I need to also still get Soldier 76's ultimate one of killing 4 people with his too.
You need Zarya for all of those.
Yeah.
Although with Soldier, what you really need is just a team of squishies. So you need a team of like Tracer, 2 supports,
people, not
and like a
Widow.
Yeah, no, you can't be doing that with a bunch of tanks. It's not going to work.
Doesn't work at all. No. But no, yeah. So Doomfist, I'm very excited about.
I have I've seen some of the PTR gameplay footage of him.
Me too.
And mostly it's just like I'm not absorbing any of this. I don't know how. I don't know what's happening
like how you his hand cannon is cool because at least he has some range.
Yeah.
But I mean, also he's got that rocket fist or whatever where he flies forward punching people, and then he can do the uppercut thing, and then he's in the air, and it's just like, what is happening?
It's like, what is happening? It's going to be a nightmare for Mercies. We're like, no, come back.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be really unfortunate.
Well, probably for ones trying to heal him and for ones who are on the enemy team getting hammered by him.
And then in other news, just a quick FYI, so out now when this episode airs, again, Splatoon 2 has just launched for the Switch, so if you haven't already bought it, please do. Pyre for the PS4 and PC, like we talked about. Aven Colony for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is going to be more like a city builder.
Oh, okay. Because I hadn't heard about that one.
Yeah, no, Aven Colony. So it's I actually think it's kind of like a sci-fi city builder.
Okay.
So you might be interested in it.
Yeah.
It's not medieval, but it looks pretty cool.
I mean,
it looks
like a good city builder.
Space Sims.
Oh, okay.
But without the level of silliness that the Sims naturally comes with.
Because Sims are just too silly.
Just too silly.
Just too silly.
And then for your JRPG fix, they did just recently, or they are porting Fate Extella, the Umbral Star, to the Switch as well.
Okay.
So if you need a JRPG for the Switch, you can get that one. And then coming soon, Hey Pikmin is coming out for the 3DS, and that is July 28th. We also have Miitopia to the 3DS, July 28th as well. And Tacoma. Have you heard about Tacoma?
Mm-mm.
This is one, so it's not the Toyota Tacoma, the best small pickup truck in the United States at this time. I'm just kidding. It's
Please,
not
Toyota.
really. Please,
Send us some money
Toyota.
now. We give you a shout out. You have to now.
Tacoma is coming out for, I'm actually kind of mad. I'm probably going to have to get it on Steam or something. It's coming out for Xbox One and PC August 2nd. It's from the makers of Gone Home.
Oh, okay.
So Fulbright, the people who made Gone Home, this is kind of their new game, and they initially teased it way back at like the 2014 or 15 Game Awards.
Oh, wow.
So it's like their newest thing that they're about to put out. It looks pretty interesting. So if you're looking for your indie fix, Tacoma for the PC and Xbox One.
And when is that?
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
I think I said that. August 2nd.
Yeah.
So those are your things that are coming out soon. And then what's this about money and making money?
Okay, so there's this, I saw this as a story. I believe it was a Kotaku article that I saw. This, and I'll just briefly, but I saw this and it blew my mind that anybody even considered that this was an okay way to go about things. It was this racing game made by Zynga. And
Zynga? The most popular social platform. Do you remember Zynga?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're still a thing. And making stuff out there and apparently making people mad. So they had this DLC vehicle. that they came out with for this racing game. Can't remember what the racing game is called. Unimportant because I'll never play it.
Unimportant.
But you could buy this special car, and somebody bought it for the price of which I was like, come again now? What? They bought it for the price of $14.99 for a car in a game. One car in one game.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that seems very steep, but whatever. If you're a fan, that's your own thing. You spend your money how you want to spend your money. But then it started coming out that some people were able to buy the car for $4.99. Then some people were buying the car for $34.99. And people were like, now what is up with this discrepancy? Because this seems really weird. Why is
$34.99?
Right?
Who would pay that?
Right? I don't know. But anyway, so that was coming up, and people were being like, now what is this now? Why is this a thing? Why are there different prices? And they reached out to Zynga, and Zynga said it was something they were testing. Randomized pricing for the DLC. They were testing it to somehow improve the game experience.
What?
Right? Right?
What now?
How?
What the hell?
Because it's like you can either wait and then pay like $5, and the next time you try to buy it, it's going to be $14, or then you can wait again and it's going to be back to $5, or might
and
be $34.
That's going to improve the user experience?
I don't know.
That sounds like a scam.
That sounds like a huge scam. And I read this article.
They were just trying to catch the people at the $34.99.
Right?
Oh my God, that's sick.
They
should be ashamed.
And so, I mean, hopefully that they received enough outcry for this that they're like, nah, we're going to pull the plug on this. But I still couldn't believe that was even a thought of like, let's try randomizing the price.
I would have demanded a refund.
Oh, absolutely. If I would have found out that I bought it for this, because what do? Somebody buys it for $15, then you found out your buddy bought it for $5.
I would
you're
have found out where the CEO lived, and I would have gone to their house and been like, politely. I'll take my $10 back now, or $30, however much. Oh my God.
I couldn't believe that was even something that they were trying to pass off as a good thing. That was ridiculous.
That's a definitive no.
Definitive no, absolutely. And then also another cool thing, just because I'm still a big fan of the game, still trying to get the platinum for it, for Doom, today they announced update 6.66.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
That's a bad number. Shouldn't do it. Shouldn't number it that way.
That's extra hell.
But what they did is they updated the multiplayer progression, but also made all DLC free.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Because now the game's been out for over a year and a half, close to 2 years.
Now would be my ideal time to jump on.
Yeah, because now you can buy all the DLC, because there are even trophies for the DLC. And I was like, I might play it. But I mean, they're not required for the platinum.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to buy it though, kind of a thing. And now here I sit, a dedicated Doom player rewarded for my time. And I thought that was like, hats off to you, Bethesda.
And we've got some listeners that love
ID
Doom
software.
too. So they're going to be pretty psyched about that.
Yep,
awesome.
Psyched indeed.
Oh, Doom.
Doom. Let's go to hell one more time.
In other news, you've recently been playing Ryse.
Yes. Oh, so Moment with Mogan's over.
Yes. Oh, yes. Moment with Mogan's over. Yay.
Yeah. Okay. So Ryse.
And this is from
Microsoft Studios and Crytek, who made Crysis, I believe, and the Crysis series and other things like that. So talking about all those release dates for all these games coming out when you were doing Moment with Mogan reminded me of just of why I'm able to get into this game now is because I'm in the dry spell that I've talked about before of when there's nothing new coming out that I'm really excited for. So I'm just kind of going through. I'm going through and finally knocking out several games on my backlog. I've done a pretty good job of doing it. Like I beat Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, you did.
I beat, what else did I just beat?
Quick stupid question. How do you spell Ryse?
Ryse.
Okay, see, I typed that in and it came up with a game that was hella old.
Ryse Son of Rome is what it's called.
Is it Son of Rome 2?
I don't know. Are they making it 2?
Maybe not. Oh, that's like, never mind.
Okay.
I'm just being dumb.
But anyway, so Ryse was a launch title for the Xbox One when it came out.
Oh,
and
okay.
Obviously, when I saw this game coming out, I was very into it because it takes place in ancient Rome. Obviously,
gotcha.
I love that time period.
Duh.
So I'm all about it. But I hadn't ever gotten around to playing it until now. And I must say, it's a whole lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Brief summary of it. I really enjoy it. Story's great. But I wish the combat could be a little bit better.
So you're now playing it on your Xbox One?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
so
it was Xbox One exclusive.
And is it still exclusive?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So basic, brief story summary is you're a Roman centurion, Marius. And at the beginning, it starts off at the beginning of the game, and Rome is under siege by barbarian forces, and you're protecting Emperor Nero. But then
Nero, you're protecting him.
I know, right?
That's the game is confused.
Seriously.
You should be trying to take down Nero.
I know. Everyone should have been trying to take down Nero. He was a bad dude.
He was a bad dude.
Not a good guy.
So in who is worse, Nero or Caligula?
Ooh. That is a toughie.
I'm gonna vote Caligula.
I think Caligula was.
He was worse.
He was pretty crazy.
All right. So, anyways, you're trying to protect douchebag Nero,
right? And you're able to get him away from the barbarian attack, and you go down to this vault, and he is asking you about yourself, and you start telling him your story. And so then it goes back in time to where you're just a new soldier in the Roman army. You're back home visiting your family who is a affluent family in Rome, visiting them before you are shipped off to war. But while you're there visiting your family, barbarians are somehow able to infiltrate the city. Your mother and sister are killed, and you and your father then take off into the streets because he's an old soldier himself / now politician.
Okay.
And you're going in the streets of Rome fighting, trying to figure out what's going on. Your father winds up being killed too, which sets you off this on this path of revenge to get back at the barbarians. / your father also says some cryptic things about it may not be barbarians who are behind it. And so it just sets you off on this course of revenge and to figure out who killed your family and to take vengeance on the barbarians who did it.
The course never takes the turn of learning to live life normally after you've had 3 family members murdered.
There's no time for reflection.
Yeah, they never
time
have that
to
period.
Heal.
No. There's no visits to the psychiatrist.
Just straight back into the bloodshed. So I do like the game that like I said, it's taking place in Rome, so you have all of that as a setting. But then what's really cool is when you go to fight the barbarians, you're not just fighting these barbarians who are in the Italian countryside. You go to Britannia. And so you're fighting the Celts and stuff like that. So you actually wind up fighting against Boudica and King Oswald, although I can't remember if he's a actual historical king, but obviously
That's really
Boudica
interesting.
And so you go into this different setting of this ancient world, of this ancient time. And so I will say, I was playing this again today to get a little bit farther into the game. I have 2 levels left, so I'm very close. It's a very short game.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, you haven't been playing it that long.
No.
If this is the first time really hearing of it.
Yeah, it's a very short game. But so I was playing it a little bit more to get farther in, and so I made a quick little list of some pros and cons. So pros, excellent graphics. For a launch title game, which obviously the Xbox One was supposed to be, obviously it's a new console, so you would expect the graphics to be better. The graphics are really good.
Nice. So they've held up well.
Yeah, still on par with other games. Now, obviously games like Horizon Zero Dawn have a bit more finesse to them now, a little bit more detail, but still, as a whole, excellent. And then along with that too, there's great voice acting as well. All the characters have been really well. Like in one level I just played, you rescue the Emperor's son Commodus. So also crazy dude.
They were all crazy.
They were all crazy.
All that inbreeding, man, made
just
him
makes
crazy.
Some crazy people. But he was really well acted, and his character model was really well because he was very frantic and frenetic and just kind of like unhinged, and that came across really well in his animations and in his facial animations and stuff too. But one of the things that really sticks out is whenever you're fighting and you get the symbol to be able to perform an execution on an enemy, the execution animations are fantastic. Not for
Mortal Kombat style?
No, not for being overly gory. Like, I'm surprised you chop arms off. You can chop arms off, but you don't behead people in in executions. Like, you'll slit a throat or something like that. But it's not overly graphic in that sense. But what is so great about them is how the enemy responds to the execution.
Oh gosh!
Like they're responsive execution. So like, say you're fighting somebody and you start the execution, you're next to a wall. You'll ram them into the wall, and then you'll have to like hit the buttons. So it's really cool because it will highlight with the enemy with the color of the button you're supposed to be hitting instead of saying like Y or X.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it'll do like yellow, and you're supposed to hit Y, or then blue for X. And you're just supposed to do it in a generated sequence, and however quickly you're able to hit the button / hit the button correctly determines how much of a bonus you get at the end.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
It is really cool.
I like that.
But also I've played a lot of games before where you will perform and the camera like zooms in on it, so it's really close, and the camera motion is really fluid because normally when you're fighting, it's third person, it'll be really far out, and then when an execution happens, it zooms in, so you see you're up close into the gritty action. Your character is making facial like yelling and and screaming kind of stuff, or gritty determination face, but as you're attacking the guys and is doing the animation, they're showing like the expression of pain or like
of
screaming
course
out.
they are.
But I feel like in a lot of games that I've played that before, it's just still like they're stoic and you're just cutting them down. So it makes it feel a lot more visceral and a lot more real, which I really, really appreciate, especially for the time period.
Yeah, that does sound certainly very engaging.
Yeah. It's also really great because it uses a lot of varied combat where there will be certain points where archers are up on a hill and you'll be able to call together your other soldiers to form the turtle formation.
To form Voltron?
Where you put your, like the old ancient Roman formations where the shields are on top and the shields in front to make this like a movable thing.
We've all seen Troy.
Right. And then you drop your shield and then you're able to throw Pila, the throwing spears, into the archers. And so it's all about like a lot of timing and stuff. Those get a little bit stale though, because it's you see like a bridge and you're like, oh, okay. And there's like this banner that you're supposed to go to.
So it's just a little predictable.
Yeah, a little predictable. But still cool that they include that. Plus that they even include the throwing spears Pila into the game of play as well. Enemies do progress in difficulty. You're not just fighting the same mindless, like simple guys. You'll run as you go farther into the game. There are obviously the easy guys who are super easy. Then there's guys with an axe and a shield that you'll fight. And then later on, you'll run into more heavier enemies who you'll have to dodge some of their heavier attacks rather than be able to fight them outright. The combat, I will say, is good. And I'll talk about it a little bit more because it also applies to a con a little bit. But it is a combination of using X and Y. So for a light attack, or you'll use your shield to like do a bashing hit attack by hitting Y. And later you'll be able to unlock heavy attacks and heavy shield bash and things like that. And then you obviously have a nice roll and a dodge and a deflect thing to deflect attacks.
Like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. And so you have all that at your disposal. Like I said, the story is really great so far. It's very well acted, as I said, so it lends really well in this great, and it has the perfect amount of mythology thrown in. Not where you're fighting like mythical creatures, but there are a couple points.
So not God of War level.
No, but there are points in the story, without getting too spoilery for anybody who wants to try it out, where you do receive divine intervention, basically.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But it's done in a very not overtly like. I mean, it's fairly overt that the person you're dealing with is God, but it's not in the case of it's thrown in your face in the sense of God of War.
Gotcha.
But I think it's just enough touch into the Roman mythology that it's like, yeah, this is believable. This is a thing that they'd be into. And then, like I said, also the responsive executions, like that's really cool. And as you progress more, like I did this one that I didn't even think would be a thing, where the guy. Where I was performing an execution, I was standing on the bank of a river. I knocked the enemy over, held them underwater with my shield, and then like stabbed him.
Oh my God, horrible!
It's cool. It seems very accurate in how they use the sword and shield together. It's not just this random. I mean, a little bit is a random hack and slash, but it's cool when it counts that they really show how the sword and shield could be used in combination together.
Terrible.
For a history buff who loved medieval and ancient warfare like that, for me, it's hitting all the right buttons.
Not rated E for everyone.
It is not. It is a strong M.
Strong M plus.
But then, so some of the cons that I did come across. So as good as fun and interesting as the combat is, it gets stale because it's similar in how we were talking about with Uncharted, where you enter this area, enemies come at you, you defeat the enemies, and then you move on.
Yep.
With slight variation thrown in, which makes it slightly better than Uncharted because there is now a little bit more variation with heavier people who come in and their attacks can be just damaging to you. But still, it is very much you enter this area, you fight them, and then you move on. And then the combat system, while cool, where you can combine like light attacks and then a shield bash to break a guard, like especially an enemy who has a sword, axe and shield, you can break their guard by hitting the shield bash and then attack them a little bit more, then perform the execution. But it feels light. Like I feel like they could have put a little bit more effort into the combat.
Okay.
A little bit, especially I think the big thing that would be cool is if it incorporated a little bit more of a combo, like a combo system. God of War is very much a hack slash game, but still, if you hit like square, square, triangle, you're going to do a special move.
Gotcha.
This game doesn't have that. You hit X, X, Y, and it's like a combination of hitting those to constantly keep the opponent's guard broken.
Okay.
But it's not. I can't hit X, X, Y and do this huge smashing attack or something that eliminates.
So there's just not that much variation.
Yeah, it does have the ability where you can do a focus attack where you like slam the ground with your shield and it slows time and you go fast, which is the only thing that seems slightly out of place for the game.
What explanation does it give for this?
It doesn't. You just have the ability.
Just no explanation?
I guess you could say your superior Roman training. I don't know. It's not a perfect world.
Sure,
and that's
whatever.
And that's why it's a con.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So, but still, so that's what I feel like what it could benefit from is it could have benefited from a better, slightly more engaging combat system.
Yeah.
Now you could say, well, that's a pretty big con considering the game is
primarily
combat based. But I think in this case, the story so far and the level of production value put behind the game so far has made that where, although annoying, not a deal breaker, and to be like, I hate this game.
I'm willing to guess from my own perspective, it would probably be a deal breaker.
Probably would be a deal breaker.
But again, this doesn't sound like it's my kind of game.
Right.
So I can see why certain people would be really interested in this, but
I more wanted to get it just purely based on the fact that it's a game set in ancient Rome, which so far the majority of games that have been.
Any chance for me Lord Jerrett to make his reappearance?
Yes.
Yes.
But and before, the only really ancient Roman games that I can remember playing have been like Rome Total War, where it's more of a big strategy game, not as much a first person or third person, in this case, adventure game. The appeal is the throwing spears. That's another area of the combat. They're a little difficult because it has the option to quick throw them, or you can do like a more precise aim, but it's sometimes really difficult to get either the correct one to activate when you want it to, which just mildly frustrating. Wonky controls a little bit, yeah. And then really the only other thing is that bosses are incredibly difficult, but they can. It's again, they needed that one extra little thing to them to make them really good. So I mean, if you're looking at my list, the pros are way out. Are way bigger than the cons.
Yeah, they are.
But it's still like I was saying, if you're coming at it purely for the combat gameplay perspective, you might be a little disappointed in it. Yeah. But still, overall, like I said, I still have 2 levels left. I'll probably actually knock it out tonight after we're done.
So now that it is kind of an older game, what is its approximate price point?
Oh, now I'm sure you could buy it for $15.
Well, there you go.
15 to $20.
So an inexpensive game that somebody might get a lot of enjoyment out of. Which is,
I mean, I will say, it's been in my backlog for a long time. So I bought my Xbox over a year and a half ago, and I bought the game then because I had been excited for it.
Wow. You are really behind.
I'm really bad. The backlog. That's why I'm taking this break in newer games. I'm taking the break to be able to take on these bigger games.
That's terrible.
I know.
It's funny, but terrible.
I know. Like, believe me, I know.
You still haven't caught up with Skyward Sword? You're behind. That's a Wii game, Jerrett.
I know. Wii game. Granted, that one I got for free because somebody just gave it.
That's true. That's true.
I don't feel as much pressure to play that.
That's pretty funny.
But still. So yeah, Ryse Son of Rome, it's great. I'm really interested to see how it's going to finish up because the level I'm at right now is the level I just finished had a really big kind of twist to it that so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to wrap it up. Like I said, I'll probably finish it up so I could give a quick okay, so here's how it ended, or how I feel after it's over next time.
Don't worry, I don't think it'll be spoilers for me.
I don't honestly at this point. If it's one of those things, if you're gonna play it, you would have played it by now.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. It's been years.
But yeah, overall, still though, it's a really fun game, and it's a really fun game, and a great representation of the time period. I feel like so.
Good.
I've really enjoyed the time with it. Not like A+ stellar, but
worth your time.
Worth your time. If you feel like it's something you would enjoy, I would say give it a shot.
Right. Whereas Uncharted, not worth anybody's time. Any opportunity to bag on Uncharted,
you will take it.
I will take it happily.
All right. Okay, well, I think that pretty much wraps up everything that we had on the docket for today.
Indeed.
It's weird. This is the first episode we've done just the two of us. I mean, because when Zach had to miss that one episode before, we had
the two of us.
Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try. I don't know any of the other words.
I know, right?
That's
we'll just cut it off there while we're ahead
of the words.
But like the last time Zach had to miss, we had Spencer come on. So this is the first time that we've actually legitimately done a show with just two people, and it feels odd. It does. Not having Mr. Parks with us today.
Well, my suggestion, listeners, was rejected. I said we should keep up the third chair and put our producer Henry who is a cat,
but he wouldn't have stayed.
He would have. He's so engaged in the process. He would have laid down lower. He's a very active producer. I think he would have done great.
He probably would have gotten down and started biting our toes.
He would have had such
a
fun time.
So
he's a bad cat.
Well, to be fair, I was messing with him.
Well, that's your own fault then.
But still, he's not supposed to bite me.
Oh, he's a bad kitty.
He's a good kitty. Just gets a little cantankerous at times.
A little He is quite old.
Yes.
He's an elderly kitty.
He is.
Grandpa kitty.
Not one to be prone to be messed with.
No.
Not right meow anyway.
Not right meow.
All right. Well, before we go, we do have to do our song contest for this week, which Mogan has our hint for us.
Are you ready?
What you got?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Take up your whip. Fight the armies of the night.
Take up your whip.
You heard me.
To fight the armies of the night.
You heard me.
I might know what that is.
You might.
But I'm not very sure that I know what it is.
You'll have to listen to the track.
I will.
And see if you actually know it.
I listened to the whole... We're just going all over soundtracks today. I listened to the whole Alone in the Dark soundtrack
Wasn't
today.
It so good? It's such a good soundtrack.
I really liked it.
Oh my gosh, that one is amazing. If I could still find physical CDs of it to go in my car, I would buy that to replace the lost one. I love that soundtrack so much. It's excellent.
Yeah, I really liked it. You're right. The chorus, the chorus is, they're so good.
It's those Bulgarians, man.
They're good at that singing thing that they do.
They are kicking the Gregorians' butts. I will say that.
Got to step up their game.
They got to step it up. They got to get on more of those video game soundtracks if they want to stay relevant in today's market for chant singing.
That's true. It's a competitive market out there. They got to stay at the top of their game. All right. Well, so one more time. The hint was...
All right. Take up your whip to fight the armies of the night.
Take up your whip to fight the armies of the night. So the song contest goes live Wednesday, 9 a.m., the day after this episode goes live. First person to correctly guess the game that Mogan gave a hint for on either the Facebook post, Twitter post, or replying in the comments of the YouTube video will be able to send us a song and hint for a future episode. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
I don't know how to end it now that I can't go to Zach. Zach's here imaginarily. Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
He's doing a good job.
He's doing a good job being a good co-host with us this week. But stick around for the song. We'll see you all next time.